The email came at 8:17 a.m. 3 lines. No greeting. No explanation. We regret to inform you. Your position has been terminated effective immediately. Ethan Cole read it twice, and a third time. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, but nothing came out. Not anger, not panic, just silence. The kind that settles before a storm tears everything apart. This has to be a mistake, he muttered. But deep down, he already knew it wasn't, because one name flashed in his mind the moment he saw that email. Daniel Reeves. The man who used to shake his hand every morning. The man who once said, "We're building this together, Ethan." Yeah, together. Ethan pushed his chair back and stood up. The office around him buzzed like nothing had happened, keyboards clicking, phones ringing, people laughing. Normal. Too normal. He walked straight to Daniel's glass office. Knocked once. "Come in." Daniel didn't even look surprised. "That email," Ethan said, stepping inside, voice tight. "Tell me it's wrong." Daniel leaned back in his chair, calm, almost bored. "It's not." Pause. Ethan blinked. "You're firing me?"
After
5 years? Daniel folded his hands. "It's not personal. It's restructuring." Ethan let out a sharp laugh. "Restructuring? I've built half this company with you." "You were part of the team," Daniel corrected smoothly. "No," Ethan snapped, stepping closer. "I was the team. The clients, the strategy, the expansion plan. That was me." Daniel's eyes flickered for a second. Just a second. Then the mask came back, and now it's mine. That sentence landed like a punch. Ethan felt it. "So that's it?" he asked quietly. "You take everything and throw me out?" Daniel stood up slowly, straightening his tie. "You're talented, Ethan. You'll land somewhere. Somewhere." Ethan's voice dropped. "You mean nowhere near hereafter?" "You've blacklisted me." Silence. That was the answer. Ethan nodded slowly. "I trusted you." Daniel didn't respond. That hurt more than anything. Ethan turned to leave, but stopped at the door. "You didn't just fire me," he said without looking back. "You stole my life." Daniel's voice came, cold and final. "Then build another one." Ethan walked out, but something inside him didn't walk out. It stayed, and it started burning. 3 weeks later, Ethan sat in a small, dim cafe, staring at his laptop. 20-7 job applications, 0 responses, not even rejections, just silence. He didn't need confirmation. He already knew what Daniel had done. He had closed every door. "Smart," Ethan whispered. "Very smart." But Daniel had made one mistake. He thought Ethan would give up. Across the table, his friend Marcus leaned forward. "You've been quiet for 10 minutes. That's not a good sign." Ethan looked up. His eyes were different now, sharper, colder. "I'm not going to look for a job anymore." Marcus frowned. "Then what are you going to do? Starve?" Ethan closed his laptop slowly. "I'm going to take everything from him." Marcus blinked. "You mean revenge?" Ethan shook his head. "No, not revenge." A faint smile appeared. "Justice." Marcus leaned back. "That sounds dangerous." And illegal?" Ethan's smile faded. "No," he said calmly. "That's the best part." That night, Ethan opened an old folder on his computer. Files, contracts, emails, draft, proposals, everything he had ever created for the company. He had kept copies. Not because he didn't trust Daniel, but because he believed in being prepared. "Let's see what you built your empire on," Ethan whispered. He started reading, and then found it. A contract draft. His draft. A partnership model Daniel had rejected years ago. Ethan leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "No. You didn't reject it," he murmured. "You stole it." The final version filed under the company's official records was nearly identical. Just one difference. Daniel's name was on it, not Ethan's. Ethan sat back slowly. His heart didn't race. It didn't need to, because something far more dangerous had just happened. He had proof, not enough to destroy. Daniel immediately, but enough to start, Something precise, something legal, something unstoppable. Ethan closed the laptop and whispered, almost to himself, "You didn't just take my job, Daniel." His eyes hardened. "You handed me your downfall." The next morning, Ethan made a call. "Hello, I'd like to schedule a consultation," he said calmly. A pause. "Yes," he added. "It's about intellectual property and corporate fraud." Across the city, in his glass office, Daniel Reeves stood by the window, watching the skyline. Confident, untouchable. He picked up his phone and smirked slightly. "Make sure Ethan Cole doesn't get back into the industry," he said. A pause. "Anywhere." He hung up, satisfied. But as he turned back to his desk, something felt off, like a shift in the air, like a game had started without him realizing. And somewhere in that, Ethan Cole was no longer the man who got fired. He was the man who was about to take everything back. One move at a time, legally. And Daniel had no idea that the first move had already been made. The law office smelled like polished wood and quiet power. Ethan sat across from Olivia Grant, a woman known for dismantling billion-dollar companies without raising her voice. She flipped through the documents slowly, her sharp eyes catching details most people would miss. "You're telling me," she said finally, "that your former partner used your intellectual property without acknowledgement and built a revenue stream on it?" Ethan nodded. "That's exactly what I'm saying." Olivia tapped the paper lightly. "And you have original drafts, timestamps, email trails, all predating the company's official filing?" "I do." She leaned back, studying him now instead of the documents. "Then why didn't you come here sooner?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "Because I trusted him." A pause. Olivia gave a faint, almost approving nod. "Trust is expensive. Good thing you kept receipts." Ethan leaned forward. "Can we win?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she closed the file and said, "We don't just win cases like this, Mr. Cole. We dismantle people." That was the moment Ethan knew this wasn't just possible. It was inevitable. 3 weeks later, the first crack appeared. Not in court, not publicly, quietly, strategically. Daniel Reeves received a formal legal notice at 9:12 a.m. He skimmed the first page, then read it again. His expression didn't change much, but his grip on the paper tightened. "Intellectual property theft," he muttered. He looked up sharply. "Get legal on the line." Now, across the office, whispers began to spread. "Did you hear? There's a lawsuit. From who?" "Some exemplary." Daniel slammed his office door shut. "Find everything on Ethan Cole." He snapped into the phone. Everything. Meanwhile, Ethan sat in his apartment, staring at the city lights. His phone buzzed. "Marcus, dude," Marcus said, barely containing his excitement. "You hit him?" Ethan exhaled slowly. "It's just the beginning." "Beginning," Marcus laughed. "You dropped a legal bomb on his company." Ethan's voice turned calm again, controlled. "No, that was just the signal." A pause. Marcus went quiet. "What are you planning?" Ethan looked at his laptop. Multiple tabs open. Financial reports, investor profiles, internal structures, pieces of a puzzle. "I'm not just going after him," Ethan said softly. "I'm going after everything that makes him powerful." Daniel wasn't stupid. Within 48 hours, his legal team had a response ready. Aggressive, dismissive, confident. They claimed the work was company-owned, that Ethan had no standing, that the lawsuit was baseless. Classic, predictable, exactly what Ethan wanted, because while Daniel focused on defending, Ethan started attacking, not with noise, but with precision. Olivia sat across from Ethan again, reviewing the next phase. "You're not just interested in compensation," she said. "You want control." Ethan didn't hesitate. "It's a much bigger game." "I know." Olivia tapped her pen thoughtfully. "Then we don't just prove theft. We expose dependency." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Explain." She leaned forward slightly. "We show that Daniel's success isn't it his." Silence. Then Ethan smiled. Now, it was starting to feel like revenge. The next move came through investors. Quiet emails, carefully crafted, not accusations. Questions. Have you reviewed the origin of the company's primary revenue model? Are you aware of an ongoing intellectual dispute involving core assets? Would you like access to supporting documentation? Curiosity spreads faster than fear and far deeper. Within days, Daniel started getting calls, not friendly ones. Daniel, we need clarity. This lawsuit, how serious is it? Should we be concerned about ownership claims? Daniel kept his tone steady. It's nothing. A disgruntled former employee. But the confidence wasn't as solid anymore. Then came the second strike. A former client reached out to Ethan. I heard what's happening, she said. Is it true that the strategy you built was yours? Ethan didn't oversell. Yes, he said simply. A pause. Then I thought so. Within a week, 2 more clients hesitated on renewing contracts with Daniel's company. Not gone, but uncertain and uncertainty. That's where empires begin to crack. Late one evening, Daniel sat alone in his office. The city lights no longer looked like power. They looked like pressure. He poured himself a drink, staring at the legal notice again. Are you doing this? He whispered because it didn't feel like a random attack. Anymore, it felt planned, personal, precise. His phone buzzed. Unknown number, he answered. Daniel Reeves. Silence, then a voice, calm, controlled, familiar. You should have just let me. Walk away. Daniel froze. Ethan. A pause. Then Daniel forced a chuckle. This is what you're doing? Lawsuits and rumors? Ethan's voice didn't change. No rumors, just truth. You think this scares me? Daniel snapped. I built this company. No, Ethan corrected quietly. You built it on me. That hit harder than Daniel expected. You're making a mistake, Daniel said. Ethan exhaled slowly. No, Daniel. I made a mistake 5 years ago. Silence. I trusted you. The line went dead. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. For the first time in years, he felt something unfamiliar. Not anger, not stress, fear. Because somewhere, deep down, he realized something terrifying. Ethan wasn't reacting. He was executing. 2 days later, Livia walked into Ethan's apartment with a file. We've got him, she said. Ethan looked up. All ready? She placed the file on the table. Better. He opened it, and what he saw changed everything. Emails, internal communications. Proof that Daniel knowingly approved the use of Ethan's original work. While removing his name, deliberately, legally, dangerous, criminally close. Ethan looked up slowly. This ends him. Olivia shook her head. No. Small pause. Then she said, this gives you the option. Ethan leaned back, staring at the file, his mind racing now. Not with anger, but with strategy. Then we don't finish him yet. He said quietly. Olivia smiled slightly. Now you're thinking like him. Ethan closed the file. No, he corrected. Better. Cross. The city, Daniel stood in front of his board of investors. Tension filled the room. We need answers. One of them said sharply. Daniel straightened. And you'll get them. But as he spoke, he didn't know one critical thing. The foundation beneath him was already being removed, piece by piece. And Ethan wasn't just taking revenge anymore, he was taking control. Legally, silently, completely. And Daniel had just walked into the next phase, without realizing he was no longer the one in charge.